Welcome to the day 2 of our Fearless Flow 3-day Seascape challenge. Today we will be painting a range of mountains which are graded, and we will achieve this and also a sense of having trees on the mountains with the help of some easy techniques. So let's dive right in. This is where I left off on day 1. First, I will get rid of my tilt and get rid of my support for the tilt. I'll lay my board flat. I am going to then tape my horizon line to make sure there are no bleeds into the water. This step is important because we want to have a light and shadow effect on the base. If the water bleeds through, we can rectify it, but we won't have a clear, crisp horizon line. So this step is really important. Don't forget to tape your horizon line. And then the next step is to get going, but I want to kind of stress and reiterate in this Fearless Flow challenge. While we are trying to paint the mountain ranges, we are not trying too hard to mimic the mountain ranges. So if your paper is small and you cannot achieve the 5-6 layers of grading in the mountain ranges, is okay, but it should still give a sense of distance. So let me demonstrate it to you by showing you some of the paintings that I've done. In our reference picture, we have 6 colors or 6 grading of mountain ranges. Now, if you see in this one, since my paper was small, I was only able to achieve 1, 2, 3, and 4. In this one, I was able to achieve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one, I was able to achieve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you see, but they all look the same if you look at the depth, because I was able to achieve depth in each one of them. But you don't need to mimic the mountain ranges or get each layer in. If your paper is small, you can adapt it to eliminate one of the layers and not worry that, oh, how am I going to do this? My paper doesn't look the way the reference picture is. Do I go to paint big? No, you can adapt things to suit your painting, because this is a painting and we are not trying to be a photographer. We are not mimicking the picture, we are inspired by the picture. So keep that, and then let's start. So first step is to begin with the same pigment that you had mixed prior. So I'm going to start with the same. I'm not going to dilute it beyond the just going back and reactivating the paint, because I have a gradient. So I'm going to get this shade on the bottom first. If you want to go for 6 layers, I would suggest you dilute a little bit more so that you get 2 of those. So let's start. My main peak here is in the center, so I'm going to go with so you're just eyeballing it, you know your center, your main peak, your farthest peak is in the center. So I kind of, or maybe towards the right, so you can just probably move it here if you'd like. So you, if you're really wanting to follow the reference, you could do this. Here's your first peak. You can let it dry, or if you have a blow dryer, you could use it. You should be able to fearlessly go in with your paint on the paper without overthinking. So this is you're developing your muscle memory. So let's go in with the second layer. I'm going to mix my second layer paint. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of cobalt blue pigment and mixing it to make it a little darker for my second layer. My second layer mountain is going over here. So I'm going to make sure that I start somewhere here and then go down here. So you see my pigment isn't strong enough, so I'm going to go back take some more pigment and then go back in. Now, because my paper was not dried enough, it is blended in. What I'm going to do is, don't worry, I'm going to rectify it. I'm going to make sure that it looks separated. But so now after it's dried up, I'm going to go back in and paint this layer. So here's my paint, and I'm going back in and painting it so it gives me the depth that I'm looking for. Also, another thing I would like to share with you guys, don't check your paper's wetness with your fingers directly. Tap it with the back of your fingers so that the oils on your hand don't transfer to the paper. I don't think this is dried enough. Yeah, now it's completely dry. Now we're going to go in with the next layer. So I'm going to mix a little bit of, this is my, I'm mixing cobalt blue here. I'm going to do a good size. And then I'm going to mix a little bit of indigo, just a tad bit, because indigo is an overpowering pigment. I'm going to mix only a tad bit, and I'm going for the mountain here. Also get your detailer brush out now, because next you will be using that. So here I go. And then you fill it in. I think this is a little lighter than what I wanted it, so I'm going to go in with a little more indigo and then start back. So fill it in. Now, while the paint is wet on the paper, what you're going to do is go with your detailer brush, pick the pigment, take out the excess water, and then just keep dabbing to make it feel like there are mountains. And give it a little bit of texture. So yeah, and then let's try it again. So next layer is a little more darker, so I'm going to take more cobalt blue and a little more of indigo. Heavy on pigment, more less on water. So I'm mixing more pigment this time and taking less water. So once I have that, I'm going to check if the paper is dry and then go back in. So this mountain is coming from the top, and it's a steep mountain but going in. Then we're going to repeat the same step with our detailer brush, creating the mountains, sorry, the trees. As the mountains come closer to you, you can see the trees, which is what we're trying to mimic here, and this will help add depth. So just dab, 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 dab. I am not going to speed up this process because I want you to paint along with me. And that's it. Now let's dry this layer as well. I'm going to wash my brushes, put it on the side. Always check that your paper is dry before you go in for the next layer, because you go building darker layers, it'll help you not make those mistakes of going in with darker and blending, and then you will end up with something that you may not want. So make sure that your paper is dried when you go in before the next layer. So now I want a little more darker blue, but I want blue in it, so I do not want it to be fully indigo. So I'm going to take cobalt blue in, still make it dark, but more pigment, less water. So at this stage I realize this and this color almost look the same, so I'm going to go in with indigo and then blend it on my paper. You can do it on your paper if you have 100% cotton paper, but if you're working with a pulp paper, mix it on the palette. And now back in with your detailer brush, and then the same thing, dab dab dab. You just want to give it a sense of mountain range, so, or the trees, so don't worry so much about the distancing of the trees. Let's try this. And now we're going to go in with our final layer, which is going to be pure indigo, no more blue, just pigment, not much water. One more advice I have is make sure that you're not going too much over the tape for it to bleed. Just make sure that your tape is secured, because this is the darkest pigment. We're going to go back in with the detailer brush, create the trees again. I find this very therapeutic, repeating the steps over and over and over and over. It's fun, isn't it? What's the best part about painting for you? Adding details or just seeing the paint bleed and bloom? What is your fun part? And that's the end of our day 2. I will not take out the tape until I've dried up the paint. I don't want it to bleed. While my paint dries, I also think I mentioned in my introduction video that if you don't have indigo, you can mix your own indigo or a Payne's gray by mixing a blue and burnt sienna. So I want to show you that. So when I mix my cobalt blue, which is here, with a burnt sienna, I end up with a greenish color. But if you mix this with ultramarine blue, you end up with a beautiful indigo, which granulates. So you see it's not too different from this paint. And as you want deeper, you can add burnt sienna. So yeah, if you don't have an indigo, this is what you do. See you on the day 3.